Hey everybody, it's Nathan Fouts, aka Mommy's Best Games, and I recently got to take my new game, ChainStaff, and show it off at PAX West. It was a great show, and my publisher, Null Games, had a really nice booth. We had 3 dedicated spots for ChainStaff inside the booth, and we had plenty of people come through to play the game. Here you can see a little run-through video I did of the booth.
Oops, sorry.
They had 3 other games there: Athena Crisis, Demon Spore, and Street Dog BMX, all very cool. We were in the back there. We still got plenty of traffic. Oh my gosh, get this. So the head of PlayStation, Shuhei Yoshida, played my game and liked it. Mr. PlayStation played my game. And he was evil in the game. You get to pick whether or not you rescue your friends or eat your friends because you're an alien in the game. And he picked eat them, and he thought it was funny. It was hilarious to see. So, interesting thing, we ran into a problem at the show that I had not tested yet. Basically, Null had gotten too fancy, too fast computers. They were better than my home rig. And my home rig's really nice. It's a nice MSI computer. But these were running faster than I had expected. So the monitors, as far as we can tell, the monitors were refreshing at 240 hertz, which is faster than my home rig. And I had previously, in the code, set the target frame rate to 60 frames a second. And that should have worked. But it didn't. So instead of buying a new monitor at home, since I'm back home now, and I was trying to fix the problems, here's how I was able to fix it without having to buy new hardware. So basically, I used the application.targetFramerate and the quality settings.vsync count to do this. So if you want to test a low frame rate, like 15 frames a second, I simply changed application.targetFramerate from 60 to 15 and ran the game. And that is an excellent way to check for physics issues in the game. Run through your whole game at low frame rate, check everywhere, and see if you're actually missing out on factoring in the delta time correctly. To test a higher frame rate, it's just a little bit trickier because my monitor only refreshes at 60 hertz and not, or maybe 75 if I pushed it up, but it wasn't higher. So I had to turn off the vertical sync, and you do that with quality settings.vsync count. Set it to 0. And then I set the target frame rate to 120. This allowed me to run the game faster in the editor in Unity, and I don't even have to buy a new monitor or anything. I can just test it. It's awesome. So to actually fix it, most of the time, all you need to do is factor in the delta time from the game system clock. Rather than just assume that your game is 60 frames a second because you targeted that, if the game actually dips down to 55 or something, you want to factor in the actual time the frame took. And if it goes over 60 frames a second, if it goes over that 16 milliseconds that it needs to target 60, you want to factor that into your physics, into the motion of the player. Bugs I ran into was the player swinging, which is insane because the player swinging is a huge factor in the game. And I had it perfectly tuned for 60 frames a second. And here I take it to the show, and now it's a little bit wiggly, it's a little bit fiddly, it's too fast. So what was happening was all the physics I was using was correct. I was factoring in the proper delta time, and it adjusted at that new super high refresh rate at the show, except the momentum I was giving the player himself. What that did was it caused the players to be able to push too hard on the ChainStaff when they swung it, and so you could swing back and forth really fast, and it felt a little fiddly, which feels awful. It was fine, but I just hated taking it there like that. Anyway, I fixed it now, and you can see here it's now tuned up just right. But the other parts that were broken were some of the player weapons. So some of the player weapons use these wiggly bullets, and I do some really quick frame rate adjustments on them, and those were broken. And they were basically spreading out too far, and players were collecting that gun in the demo and then having a bad time with it. So that really stunk too. But anyway, again, that was another frame rate issue with the delta time. I was able to factor that in, And the newest one I just found was that the gravity volumes in our Waterspouts in level 3 were broken. And I was able to clamp the velocities on that and fix the frame rate, and now they work better too.
Okay, I'm going to keep working on ChainStaff. Make sure you wishlist the game. If you love running guns, if you love grappling hooks, wishlist it and tell your friends. And I'll see you next time.